Good day, everybody. Today we are going to discuss the second knowledge lecture of the Neophyte grade of the Golden Dawn. And this is, again, primarily for the members of the Order of the Rose Cross who are studying the Golden Dawn degrees for proficiencies or for their own knowledge in general. And we are going to be covering all of the knowledge lectures that we know have been published by the Golden Dawn. And that is where all the material that I will be pulling from comes from. And today, we are going to be covering astrology, basic astrology from the Golden Dawn. And astrology is split into several of the knowledge lectures. Today's will be focusing on the zodiac itself, or the fixed firmament, the fixed stars around the Earth. You know, astrology stems from the Chaldeans, and from the Chaldeans it moved to the Egyptians. And the Egyptians helped solidify it as a way for them to help partially to keep track of the time at night. And from the Egyptians it moved to the Greeks, who finalized and established classic astrology. Now, there's a difference between classic astrology and the astrology you know today. The astrology we know today, sometimes referred to as pop astrology, and that became popular toward, in the 1800s when they tried to meld esoteric knowledge with psychology. And so they tried to split the sun signs into the various psychological components of men and women. And another component of pop psychology, you'll notice, is everything gets simplified down to the sun signs, which there's a lot more to things than just the sun sign. So from a classic astrologer's perspective, there's no such thing as someone who's a Taurus or a Libra. That's just your sun sign. There's a myriad of other aspects that help make up your natal chart, as it were. And another thing with psychology, or astrology, is it often tends to just focus on the good things. And classic astrology, there's both good and bad. So we're going to see that. Astrology and alchemy and all of the esoteric sciences took a beating during the Common Era, when theology became dominant, and the mystery schools and philosophers were basically, well, a lot of them were killed, but their teachings were suppressed. And when Alexandria was the knowledge center of the world for a good portion of its existence back then, when the Romans evicted the mystery schools out of Alexandria, they ended up going up to Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria, that general area, and continued on more underground. That's a topic for another lecture. The point of that is that during the Age of Enlightenment in the 1500s and 1600s, that is where we saw mechanical science split off from spiritual sciences, and that's where chemistry formed and separated from alchemy, and astronomy separated from astrology, and we're left with the mechanics, the base mechanics. Whether, of course, you believe in astrology or not, that's up to you. That's your own personal adventure and road to follow. But anyhow, that's just a brief overview of astrology. It's got many uses other than just creating a birth chart, natal chart. So as such, it is a cornerstone of esoteric teachings, and that's why it's part of the Neophyte grade of the Golden Dawn. So without further ado, we're going to look at the Zodiac. All right. Knowledge Lecture 2, the Zodiac. Again, this material comes from published works by the Golden Dawn, so this is nothing that I'm inventing or I'm the keeper of. Everyone is free to go peruse this on their own merit. I am just presenting it here. All right. And as I mentioned before, the astrology and the Golden Dawn is split into several different lectures. This is just the Zodiac. All right. What is astrology, and why is it important according to Mathers and the Golden Dawn? Astrology is a science that examines the action of celestial bodies upon all living beings, non-living objects, and earthly conditions, as well as their reactions to such influences. The study of the stars is in fact one of the oldest sciences known to humankind, tracing its origins back to ancient Sumer and even earlier. The astrological arts were also well known to the Egyptians, Hindus, Chinese, Persians, and the great civilizations of the ancient Americas. Astrology is the progenitor of astronomy, and for many years the two existed as one science. Nowadays, astronomy is considered the objective science of distance, mass, speed, etc., while astrology is a subjective and intuitive science which not only deals with the astronomical delineation of the horoscopes, but can also be called a philosophy which helps to explain the spiritual essence of life. There are in reality two branches of astrology. The first is exoteric astrology, which includes the mathematics of the art involved with charting a horoscope and the predictive arts. The second is esoteric astrology, which deals with mysteries of the universe itself, the spiritual, moral, intellectual, and physical dynamics of the cosmos. Esoteric astrology reveals the universal pattern of living and the means by which human beings can align themselves with the spiritual fabric and pattern of the universe. It is a system for understanding celestial energies and a method for viewing the universe as a symmetrical whole. Of great importance to the art of astrology is the Zodiac. This is a circle, or belt, which anciently was said to extend 8 or 9 degrees on each side of the ecliptic, which is the sun's apparent path around the Earth, or the orbit of the Earth as viewed from the sun. The zodiacal wheel is a flat chart which is divided into 12 houses, each of which is said to be ruled by one of the 12 signs. The 12 signs of the zodiac are distributed among the 4 triplicities, or sets of 3 signs. Each of these triplicities is attributed to one of the 4 elements, and they represent the operation of the elements in the zodiac. The 12 signs are also divided into 3 quadruplicities, or groups of 4 signs. Each of these quadruplicities is attributed to one of the 3 qualities of either cardinal, mutable, or cherubic, which means fixed. Okay, so if you're studying for proficiency, you should know some of these things. One thing you're going to be looking for is you should know what those signs mean. So you see all the astrological signs, understanding what each one of those is representing. That's a given. You have to know what those are. You can see we've already got some alchemical signs here as well in the triplicities. We covered that in Lecture 1. So we have fire, water, air, and earth. And so again, the triplicities, these are grouped by elements. And these are going to be required for you to know, like, what are the fire signs, what are the air signs, etc., so forth. So let's look here with our little laser pointer here. The fire signs, we have Aries, the ram, we have Leo, the lion, and we have Sagittarius. The water signs, we have Cancer, the crab, we have Scorpio, the scorpion, and we have Pisces, the fish. The air signs, we have Gemini, the twins, we have Libra, which is a set of scales, and we have Aquarius, which is the water bearer. Now, this one's always one that will throw you at first and should be the easiest to remember because Aquarius is waves of water, but is an air sign. It is not a water sign. And last, we have the earth signs, Taurus, the bull, we have Virgo, the virgin, and we have Capricorn, the goat. Now, looking at some examples, or what do the triplicities represent? Fire signs represent, again, both positive and negative attributes. And not everything is all happy, joy, or positive. We have to keep a balance between the two. And the positive signs of a fire: fiery, impassioned, eager, spontaneous, independent, and enthusiastic. And a lot of those play into what fire, the element, represents. Negative traits: they are too forceful, domineering, and overbearing, or they can be. Water signs. Well, we know water deals with emotions. Well, let's see what these traits are. Positive traits of water signs. They're intuitive, receptive, emotional, sensitive, compassionate, and complex. They're negative traits. They can be moody, easily influenced, self-pitying, and wavering. Air signs. Air represents the intellect. Positive attributes of air signs. They're able to communicate well, intellectual, logical, open-minded, idealistic, and objective. And their negative traits. They can be cold, insensitive, and impractical. And last, we have earth signs. And earth is the northern element, and this represents protection and stability and materialism, basically the physical world. Positive traits of earth signs. They're stable, earthy, practical, dependable, conservative, and sensual. Negative traits. They're dull, or they can be dull, slow, possessive, and overly materialistic. So those are just in general. Remember, these are the tendencies. These aren't the actual fixed, you will be these things. We all have free will, and we can be whatever we want to be if we put our mind to it. But these are the elements working on those specific signs. Now, the quadruplicities are the qualities. We have the cardinal signs. These signs are called cardinal. These four here are called cardinal because they rule the change of the season. So each one of these is the beginning of a season. So we have Aries. Aries is in the spring. Cancer, summer. Libra, fall. Capricorn, the winter. These signs are also attributed to the four cardinal points of the compass. Aries in the east, Cancer in the north, Libra in the west, and Capricorn in the south. Cardinal signs are active, fervent, independent, enthusiastic, ambitious, and initiating, and they are mentally quick and insatiable. Their negative qualities. They can be impetuous, domineering, thoughtless, and without the ability to follow through with projects that they have started. Cherubic signs. These fixed signs govern the middle month of each season. Unlike the cardinal signs, which herald the transition between seasons, the cherubic signs are solidly established in the heart of their season. These signs are stable, determined, persevering, able to concentrate and accumulate. Their goals are reached slowly but steadily, and they are perceptive and have excellent memories. Negative qualities. They can be egotistical, obstinate, and too firmly ingrained in their own ways. And again, let's look here. What are these signs? Well, this is Leo the lion, who's got his tail there. This is Scorpio the scorpion. It's got its little stinger tail here. This is Aquarius the water bearer, the cup bearer. And this is Taurus the bull. Last, we have mutable signs. These signs rule the closing month of each season. And they are called the common signs because they govern the completion of the work of one season while looking ahead to the next. Their positive qualities. They are adaptable, versatile, changeable, subtle, intuitive, and understanding. Mentally, they are clever and flexible. Their negative qualities are they can be unreliable, fickle, deceptive, and cunning. And these mutable signs we have Sagittarius the archer, represented by the arrow, Pisces, the two fish that are linked together, Gemini, the twins, which is the Roman numeral number 2, and right here we have, I always get this messed up, that's Virgo, the virgin. This is the Greek for virgin. One thing I've also noticed is that signs sometimes vary. Like if you pull up what sign symbols look like, they're mostly going to be the same, but you may come across some that look a little bit different. All right, now we're going to move next into the 12 different zodiac. First one starting off the year is Aries the ram. We have a fire triangle here. He says, I am. His keyword is activity. As a fire sign, he is active. Here's his sign, 2 ram's horns. And again, a sign in general, or a zodiac sign, is going to have both positive and negative traits. So they are quick, initiating, pioneering, courageous, independent, impulsive, competitive. They can be quick-tempered, overbearing, violent, intolerant, egotistical, impatient, hasty, and they like to say after me or me first. Taurus the bull, earth sign. They say I have. Their keyword is stability. They are a rock of the astrological zodiac. They are very, very much like roots. They are stable, dependable, practical, thorough, domestic, aesthetic, and sensual. Their negative traits, they're short-tempered, stubborn, slow-moving, quarrelsome, possessive, greedy, selfish, and materialistic. These are the things that they have to struggle with. We have Gemini, the twins, air sign. Their motto is I think. Their keyword is versatile. They are the Roman numeral number 2. They represent dualism, polarities, yin and yang. This was a perfect picture I found expressing the light and the darkness that the Gemini can both that the Gemini will possess. They are versatile, adaptable, social, dual, expressive, inquisitive, inventive, dexterous, intelligent, literary, have quick wits. Their downsides, they can be changeable. They can change their personality real quick. Alternating, scattered, conniving, fidgeting. They have a hard time paying attention. I put ADD here, attention deficiency disorder, and a lack of concentration. So those are the things that they struggle with. Cancer the crab. This is a water sign. If you'll notice, you're going to start to see a pattern. It's fire, earth, air, water. And I'm betting you the next sign after this is going to be fire, and we're going to be starting a whole new set of 4. Cancer the crab feels. As a water sign, it is emotional. Its keyword is devotion, and its sign are the 2 crab claws. That's what this represents here. They are nurturing, maternal, domestic, traditional, emotional, sensitive, understanding, supportive. They have a good memory. Their downsides, they often fall into self-pity. They're self-centered, moody, sulky, negative, overcautious, manipulative, and overly emotional. And again, I will point out, these are positive and negative traits that we have to find a balance between. Hey, look at that, a fire sign. Leo the lion, the fire sign. He says, I will. His keyword is magnetism. His sign is, I like to call it a little spermatozoa. That's how I remember it. It's a little circle with a tail. These guys, fiery, they're romantic, very charismatic, dramatic, distinguished, proud, ambitious, enterprising, confident, idealistic, and charitable. I consider this like the alpha male of the astrological signs. These are the very outgoing, extroverted personality alphas. And they don't have to always be male. I know there are females that can express Leo. It's just a phrase like this is the alpha. Is what I consider. Their downsides: they're egotistical, conceited, bombastic, pompous, childish, status-seeking, domineering, cruel, and tyrannical. Like I said, this is the alpha. To me, the alpha sign of the astrological zodiac. Virgo the Virgin is an earth sign. Their motto, I analyze. Their key word, practicality. And this is their sign. It's the Greek for Virgo. Virgo, practical, analytical, discriminating, scientific, systematic, exacting, diligent, industrious, a perfectionist, neat. Their disadvantages, fault-finding, critical, picky, cynical, stuffy, snobby, hypochondriacs, and self-centered. So these are like scientists almost. They're very studied for good and bad. Following Virgo, we have Libra, the scales, air sign. Motto is I balance. Their keyword is harmony. Their sign are the scales. Traits, social, tactful, amicable, cooperative, persuasive, peace-loving, sophisticated, diplomatic, and fair. Their downsides, indecisive, ambivalent, inconsistent, sulking, easily deterred. They love intrigue, and they will do peace above all else, or peace at all costs, no matter the cost. Scorpio the Scorpion, the water sign. I desire is their motto, and their keyword is intensity. Their sign is Greek for, I believe that's Greek for scorpion. I could be incorrect. I remember it from, it's the M with the stinger tail. Scorpios are intense, profound, penetrating, resolute, motivated, resourceful, passionate, aware, and investigative. Their disadvantages: they're temperamental, irritable, intolerant of anything outside of their own way of thinking, domineering, violent, jealous, resentful, distrustful, and secretive. Sagittarius the Archer, the last of the groupings of 4. This is a fire sign. Their motto is I understand. Their keyword is visualization, and their sign is the arrow. Sagittarius they love freedom, honesty, straightforwardness, open-minded, philosophical, religious, educated, ethical, optimistic, enthusiastic, and charitable. The downsides: exaggerating, quarrelsome, they talk too much, blunt, tactless, impatient, procrastination, self-indulgent, they push too hard, they're hotheads, and they take unnecessary risks. As a fire sign, that makes sense. The goat, Capricorn, earth sign. I use is their motto. The keyword is ambition, and this is their sign. It's like a V with a tail. They are ambitious, hardworking, serious, businesslike, conservative, pragmatic, prudent, responsible, scrupulous. Their downsides: they're stubborn, they sulk, have big egos, status-seeking, overbearing, unforgiving, fatalistic, inhibited, and their mind sits over their heart. So they do things rationally regardless of emotion. Aquarius the water bearer, air sign. There, as an air sign, is about the mind. Their their motto is I know, and their keyword is imagination. They are imaginative, inventive, progressive, independent, scientific, intellectuals, logical, individuals, understanding, benevolent, and philanthropic. Their downsides: unemotional, aloof, dispassionate, temperamental, unpredictable, shy. I don't know why shy is a negative trait, but shy is listed as a negative trait. Eccentric, extreme, unruly, and they have fixed opinions. So again, like Scorpios, they don't like to deviate from what they think is the real, what they have decided is the truth, and they're hard to move from that. And last we have Pisces the fish, last water sign. I believe is their motto. Their keyword is understanding. Their sign is 2 fish tied together. Understanding, intuitive, instinctive, introspective, humanitarians, compassion, charitable, sympathetic, emotional, sacrificing, artistic, musical, and sensitive. Downsides of a Pisces: they're pessimists, melancholy, procrastinators, hesitant, they talk too much, they're lazy, impractical, unrealistic, they let fear rule them, and they're often misunderstood. Okay, so again, this is the basics of astrology. That's just understanding, being able to go through the 12 zodiac. You should be able to do it in order, like you should be able to rifle off the names of the zodiac, what their elements are, what they represent, and something basic about them, like you should be able to draw their signs or recognize their signs, and just give a few keywords to explain what that force is that allegedly the zodiac puts down on individuals. And again, remembering we are not sun signs. In classical astrology, you're not a sign. You are a collection of things that help mold spiritually or help influence spiritually what you are. We will always be caught between the current of two forces, positive and negative, and too much positive is just as bad as too much negative. And I know we live in the world where everything has to be positive all the time, but that's just not A, realistic, and B, it's not healthy. You have to be able to mix the two. So don't look at negative signs as those are all horrifyingly bad. You're trying to find that middle. That's what we do. We're trying to find that balance, much like Libra and the scales. They're trying to find that balance. All right. So that was Knowledge Lecture 2. I hope you found it useful. The next Knowledge Lecture that we do, Knowledge Lecture 3, will be a continuation of astrology, and we will be discussing planetary influences and what those are. So if you have any comments, please leave them below. And we will see you soon in the next Knowledge Lecture. Thank you.